Hey guys, I'm Emily from The Blue Mouse, and today I'm going to show you how to do brioche knitting from a one color cast on. So usually you'll start with a two color Italian cast on, but you can also just do a normal cast on in your first color and then begin your setup row. Alright, so you're going to want to begin by using whatever your preferred cast on method is and cast on an odd number of stitches in color A or your light color. So whichever color is going to be dominant, that is the color that you're going to start with. So now that we have an odd number of stitches, we're going to work the first setup row. So you're going to continue working with color A for this first row, and you're going to alternate a purl one, slip one yarn over, purl one. So we're going to start with a purl one and then a slip one yarn over. There's a couple different ways to do this, but I like to combine the motions into one. So you go into the stitch as if to purl, and then you're going to yarn over, but instead you're just going to slip that stitch and the yarn over to your right hand needle, and then you purl the next stitch normally, and then you do that slip one yarn over again. So you go into the stitch as if to purl, yarn over, and slide it to your right hand needle, then purl the next stitch, then slip one yarn over, go in as if to purl, yarn over and slide to your right hand needle, purl one, go in as if to purl, yarn over and slide to the right hand needle, purl one, slip one yarn over, purl one, and you repeat that to the last stitch. So your final two stitches are a slip one yarn over and then a purl one. And then in brioche, you work every row twice. So you work it in your first color, and then you slide back to the beginning and you work it in your second color. And only after finishing your second color will you turn your work. I don't want my stitches to get twisted, so I kind of scrunch them up together and slide them back to the beginning. And now I'm going to pick up my color B, and I like to wrap it around my pinky a few times just to keep the tension even. Alright, so you want your yarn in the back of your work, and we are working a wrong side row. Because you purled with your color A, that means that this is a wrong side row. So every time you have a wrong side row, you're going to work purl stitches or brioche purl stitches with color A and brioche knit stitches with color B. So now you slip your first stitch as if to purl, keeping the yarn in the back, and now we're going to work a brioche knit stitch. So these two loops here that are your slip one yarn over from when you worked color A, those two loops are considered one stitch. So you're just going to knit those two loops together, and that is considered a brioche knit. And now we're going to do a slip one yarn over, and when you're working brioche knit stitches, your slip one yarn over is a little bit different. So I like to combine these motions again. So I yarn over first, and then I slip that stitch purlwise. You can see that you have these two loops here, and now we're going to do another brioche knit stitch. So these two loops on your left hand needle, you're just going to knit those two loops together. So go into both, yarn over and pull through, and now we're going to do another slip one yarn over. So yarn over and then slip that next stitch as if to purl. And these two loops, one dark, one light, that is your slip one yarn over. And then we just keep doing that pattern. So we're going to brioche knit these two loops together. And then you yarn over and slip that next stitch, creating a slip one yarn over. And then we're going to brioche knit that next stitch. So these two loops that make up that one stitch, you go into both as if to knit, yarn over, pull through, and just keep going. So slip one yarn over, and slip one as if to purl. Knit these two loops together as a brioche knit. Yarn over and slip that next stitch. And you're going to slip this next stitch just normally with your yarn in the back. And now that we've worked this row twice, once in each color, we can turn our work and work our first actual row. Alright, so in brioche you work every row first in color A, and then you slide back to the beginning and you work it in color B. Even if it's a right side row, wrong side row, it doesn't matter. You always start with color A. So this is our first row. The one row that we just did is a setup row. So this is row 1, and for whatever project you're working in 2-color brioche, you will repeat these next 2 rows. So you only do the setup row once. So we're going to knit 1, just normally. And then we're going to do a slip one yarn over. So we are working a right side row, so we're going to do our slip one yarn overs with our yarn in the back here. So you yarn over, and then you slip one as if to purl, and now we're going to brioche knit the next stitch. So these two loops, one dark, one light, that is your brioche knit stitch. Even though there's two loops, it only counts as one stitch. So you go into both loops, yarn over and pull through, and then we're going to slip one yarn over again. So yarn over, slip one as if to purl, and now we're going to brioche knit the next stitch. So these two loops, one dark, one light, you go into both of them and essentially knit them together. And then you just keep doing that. So slip one yarn over and slip one as if to purl. Knit these next two loops together as one brioche knit stitch. When you come to a single loop, that is always going to be your slip one yarn over. So yarn over and slip it as if to purl. And every time you come to your crisscross loops here, that is a brioche stitch. So you're going to go into both those loops and knit them together. And our last two stitches are a slip one yarn over and a regular knit stitch. Now you've only worked the first part of row 1, so you worked it in color A. Now we slide back to the beginning, and now we're going to work it in our dark color. So every time that your dark color is hanging in the front of your work, that means that you're going to be working brioche purls in your dark color. And every time it's hanging in the back, that means you're going to be doing brioche knit stitches. So it's hanging in the front, so we're going to do brioche purls. So slip that first stitch as if to purl, and now we're going to brioche purl these next two loops. These two right here are a slip one yarn over from your first run of this row. So you go into them as if to purl, yarn over, and pull through. So you're essentially just purling them together. And then you slip one yarn over. So you go into your stitch as if to purl, yarn over, and slide to your right hand needle. And now we have another brioche purl. So go into both those loops as if to purl, and purl them together. Then slip one yarn over, go into that next stitch purlwise, yarn over, and slide to your right hand needle. And now we're going to brioche purl again. So every time you have these two loops together, you're brioche purling them, and every time you have just one single loop, you're slipping it with a yarn over. So brioche purl, go into these two stitches purlwise, yarn over, and pull through. Go into the next stitch purlwise, yarn over, and slide to your right hand needle. Brioche purl, and just keep doing this until you get to your last stitch. Alright, so we've reached our last stitch, and you're just going to leave the dark colored yarn in the front of your work and slip that stitch purlwise. And now that you've worked both colors of this row, you're ready to turn your work. And remember, you work every row starting with color A, you finish it, you slide back to the beginning, and you work color B. So this is a wrong side or a dark side row, because your dark colored yarn is prominent on this side. So every time you work a wrong side or a dark side row, you're going to brioche purl with your light color and brioche knit with your dark color. So you begin row 2 with color A, and we're going to purl one normally, and then we're going to do a slip one yarn over, brioche purl repeat. So go into this single stitch purlwise, yarn over, and slip to your right hand needle, and now we're going to brioche purl. So go into these two loops that make up that stitch, yarn over, and purl them together. So every time you come to a single stitch, you're going to slip one yarn over, and every time you come to a two loop stitch, you're going to brioche purl it. So go into that next stitch as if to purl, yarn over, and slip it to your right hand needle, and then brioche purl the next stitch. So go into it purlwise and essentially purl those two loops together. Go into the next stitch purlwise, yarn over, and slip to your right hand needle. Go into the next brioche stitch as if to purl and essentially purl those two loops together. And you're just going to repeat a slip one yarn over, brioche purl to 2 stitches. So I have 2 left here, and I'm just going to slip one yarn over into this next single stitch and purl the last stitch normally. So remember, we have to go back and work the second color. So slide back to the beginning. When the dark color is hanging in the back, you're going to be brioche knitting across this row. So keep the yarn in the back and slip that first stitch purlwise. And now we're going to repeat a brioche knit stitch followed by a slip one yarn over until you have 2 stitches left. So work 1 brioche knit, go into these next 2 loops as if to knit and essentially knit them together, and then work a slip one yarn over. So yarn over and slip that next stitch as if to purl. Brioche knit, so go into these next 2 loops as if to knit, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and slip that next stitch as if to purl, and you repeat that until you only have 2 stitches left. Alright, so we've come to our last 2 stitches. So you just brioche knit these 2 loops together, and then with your yarn in the back you're going to slip this last stitch. So you can more easily tell that this is a dark color row or a wrong side row. You have the V's that make up the columns in dark colors but not in the light. So then you turn your work and you're ready to repeat row 1 again. And row 1 is a light side or a right side repeat.